Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the body, today as we convene the 157th regular session of the Kentucky General Assembly, our colleagues in the United States Senate are commemorating another historic occasion. Senator Mitch McConnell has already represented Kentucky longer than any United States senator and is the longest-serving Senate Republican leader into history. Today, he takes another title, the longest-serving Senate party leader ever. Many of us know the senator well. He's been to our districts. He's been there frequently, and he served as a mentor to many in this body. So it can be easy to forget that despite his hands-on approach here in Kentucky, he is a major player in our nation's current events, and particularly our history. Leader McConnell is an unrivaled political strategist, master of the long game. Like us, he has his fair share of critics, but he has proven time and time again that authentic leadership and good public policy requires patience, persistence, and the ability to see debate from all sides. Even his harshest detractors recognize that Senator McConnell is one of the most effective political leaders in our nation's history. His influence in the process of appointing federal judges will have a profound effect on our country and our Commonwealth for generations to come. As he puts it, he simply backs nominees who endorse the quaint notion that judges ought to follow our Constitution as it is written, not as they wish it were written. And for all the senator's work to influence national policy, his work has been doubly effective back here at home. His work has influenced every level of Kentucky's economy, infrastructure, environment, and more. He focused federal attention on the substance abuse crisis, securing record funding for Kentucky to get drugs off our streets and addicts into recovery. Law enforcement agencies in Kentucky now have extra resources and training to deal with the epidemic, thanks to Senator McConnell's work. He has safeguarded Kentucky's signature bourbon and thoroughbred horse racing industries, winning fair trade deals for our producers and ensuring that these small businesses will still be around for generations to come. I would now like to yield to the lady from Kenton 64 for further comments.
Chair recognizes the lady from Kenton 64.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have to look no further than last week's announcement about the Brent Spence Bridge project for evidence of Senator McConnell's commitment to the people of Kentucky. As you know, this project is a priority not only for our region of the state, but also for our region of the country. This bridge is a major part of the Interstate 75 corridor with more than 160,000 vehicles and 43 million tons of freight crossing this bridge every day. Senator McConnell's leadership made it possible that our Commonwealth received roughly $1.6 million in federal funding, making the project possible without tolls. This funding is the direct result of Senator McConnell's support for last year's bipartisan Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. It is also the result of his commitment to working with this legislature to ensure that we prioritized matching funds in our road plan last year. I'd like to yield back to the gentleman from Oldham at this point.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Oldham 59.
Thank you, lady from Kenton. I now yield to the gentleman from McGoffin.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from McGoffin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a great honor today to arise to honor the great Senator McConnell from Kentucky for this historic achievement and to put in perspective the work he does in my region. As everyone is well aware, this past summer we incurred the worst flooding that we've ever encountered in eastern Kentucky. The very day that word reached Senator McConnell, he reached out to me personally to begin to ask what he could do. He wanted to check on the status of people. He wanted to know how things were going and what we needed. Senator McConnell continued to stay in contact and was one of the first ones to reach my district to come and offer help. Not just offer help, but to listen to those that were gathered that came to speak to them. They had questions about how the federal system worked and the things they had to offer. And he brought those things to them, and his personnel has been available to us every step of the way. And Senator McConnell has been to my district multiple times during this flooding. And not only that, during this most recent budget, he included help, once again, by funding to help in our flooded region. And so we are very much appreciative for his leadership in Washington to help us during this very tragic time that we've experienced in eastern Kentucky. Those of us who've worked with the senator to serve our constituents we're not surprised by this achievement, by his leadership. In fact, I've heard the same from my friends in western Kentucky. But it is the hallmark of real leadership, and quite frankly, a very big part in what has earned him the honor that we commemorate him here today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from Oldham.
I now yield to the gentleman from Christian 8.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Christian 8.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As chairman of the Veterans Military Affairs and Public Protection Committee, I have the opportunity of working with the federal government to serve the veterans and active duty members of our military and also our National Guard. Senator McConnell's commitment to these individuals is unfailing. He has delivered unprecedented support for the service members of Kentucky's Fort Knox and Fort Campbell, helping these posts get the attention that they need. The senator also helped launch the construction of the new Robley Rex VA Hospital in Louisville to make sure that Kentucky's veterans receive the exceptional health care they deserve. I congratulate Senator McConnell on the latest in a long legacy of historic accomplishments. I yield back to the gentleman from Oldham.
Gentleman from Oldham.
Thank you, gentleman from Christian. I now yield to the gentleman from Wayne.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Wayne.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to honor our nation's longest-serving Senate party leader in American history. Elected to lead the conference 9 times since 2006, Senator McConnell has been praised by many for his consequential Senate leadership. He's been called the most important Republican since Ronald Reagan and the most conservative leader of either party in the history of the Senate. He's also been called the most effective floor leader in either party by veteran political commentators. And while many focus on the senator's political prowess, I had the opportunity some almost 30 years ago as a staffer serving as Eastern Kentucky field representative for the senator to see how firsthand how important constituent services is to him. Whether helping a veteran access federal services or helping constituents navigate the red tape of our federal bureaucracy, Senator McConnell is the gold standard in constituent services. He also spearheaded multi-decade projects from construction at the Kentucky Lock and Dam to the chemical demilitarization program at the Bluegrass Army Depot, the Cumberland Gap Tunnel, to the land between the lakes, and much, much more, including the $1.6 billion in federal funding for the Brent Spence Bridge project. It's my honor to stand here today and honor my former boss, Senator McConnell.
Gentleman from Oldham.
Thank you, gentleman from Wayne. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Those of us in this chamber know that the impact of Senator McConnell is far greater and wider than we can possibly list on the floor here today. We can all name the many additional ways that his efforts have helped transform our individual districts. And we can be sure that the senator will continue to put Kentuckians' concerns at the forefront of the national conversation. On behalf of the entire Kentucky House of Representatives, congratulations, Leader McConnell, on this historic accomplishment, and thank you for your service to the nation and to our Commonwealth. I move adoption.
Without objection, citation is adopted.